I told you yesterday we got some more Rattlers news, and before I recorded this, there's even more Rattlers news. I'm going to stick to just the quarterback stuff today, and then you'll get another video. So this has been a pretty busy couple of days for Rattlers coverage. But let's start off with this, and I want to preface it a little bit that at the end of last season, I was asking whether or not they would need to make a change at quarterback, not because Drew Powell is a bad quarterback, quite the opposite. As a regular season quarterback, Drew Powell is one of the best in the entire league. However, 2019, 2021, 2022, they're just not winning the big games with him under center, and it's not entirely his fault. It's not just blame the quarterback, and that's good enough. Other aspects as well. But everything kind of starts and stops with the quarterback. And the question was whether or not a change at quarterback was necessary. Whether or not they were going to make a change. And they did. Kevin Guy winds up trading him to the Tucson Sugar Skulls. So a team that he has a partial ownership stake in for a young quarterback. So let's go ahead and bring this up. The Arizona Rattlers trade quarterback Drew Powell to the Tucson Sugar Skulls in exchange for quarterback Ramon Atkins. Atkins was a 2022 Offensive Rookie of the Year, and last year with Tucson, he started all 16 games, had a completion percentage of 65.1%, which was third in the IFL, totaled 37 touchdowns against 11 interceptions, had 1,984 total passing yards, 691 rushing yards, 5th in the IFL, and 21 rushing touchdowns. The season before, he was the Offensive Rookie of the Year with the Duke City Gladiators. Before the second half of the news I'm going to talk to you about, this was definitely interesting, and I wasn't 100% sure that Atkins is the right replacement for Powell. Not because he's a bad quarterback. He helped lead Tucson to the 3rd in the West last season. It's just that Atkins feels like a Powell light, but still is someone that can run the same system because this is a very dual threat quarterback system. So you definitely, at least if you're going to trade Powell, you're going to get someone of a comparable kind of fit. But they seemingly did not bring Atkins in to be the starter because within an hour, this was revealed. The Arizona Rattlers signed quarterback Dalton Sneed. As an Arizona kid myself, as someone who finds themselves rooting for Arizona kids, be it in the NHL, IFL, NFL, whatever, this was massive news. I actually partially, alright, it was mostly on Twitter, I was partially following this kid playing for the Bay Area Panthers last year, especially after they beat the Northern Arizona Wranglers, because the quarterback is from Arizona. And Dalton Sneed helped lead the Bay Area Panthers to an IFL championship last season, and considering how Kevin Guy, he said it in the last press conference at the final game in the playoffs, they want to be competing for championships every single year, and if you're going to move on from Drew Powell, a multi-time MVP. He is, again, in the regular season, as good as it gets. If you're going to move on from a quarterback of that caliber, you're bringing in a champion, and they brought in Dalton Sneed, the reigning champion. If you match that with the signing of Ramad Chakio Bowman, you have two very capable quarterbacks alongside a true number 1 wide receiver, a really good number 2 wide receiver coming back, and you're already adding back one of your offensive linemen. As long as the Rattlers can keep signing some really good players and bring back some of their better players from last year, this is going to be a very good season. So, Dalton Sneed, a Scottsdale-born kid, what were his stats last season? He led the league in completion percentage at 68.5%. He also finished first in touchdowns with 49, 5th in passing yards at 2,163, and he also had the highest efficiency rating in the league at 199.8. He also had 600 rushing yards and 17 rushing touchdowns, so essentially, regardless of what happens, whether it's Sneed or Atkins at quarterback at any given moment, you have someone that can take off and that can score on the ground. This has been kind of a roller coaster because, again, multi-time MVP Drew Powell. MV Powell is the best, one of the best regular season quarterbacks, and I wish him nothing but the best in Tucson, and he seems like a great guy, and he was a great player to watch on the football field throughout the majority of his Rattlers tenure. To go from that to two quarterbacks that are both very capable quarterbacks that are essentially, if you take one Drew Powell, you now have 1.5 Drew Powell. It is the best way I could try to describe it, and one of those players won a championship, has that championship mindset, that championship result, result. That's what the Rattlers want, and they've made no secrets. They've not been quiet about it. That is what they want above all else. They want to win championships, and this has me feeling really optimistic. Now I'm gonna have to see how they play in a Rattlers uniform. Obviously, you're gonna have to make sure you have a good offensive line. You're gonna have to make sure you add a couple extra pieces, at least one more really good receiver, at least a good solid running back, so you can kind of mix up the game a little bit. And you're gonna need to make sure the defense is good. But throughout the start of free agency so far, the players they have brought in and brought back to this point, I have the feeling that this has the potential to be a very good season.